My name is Anna. I am 26 years old. I live in Ohio. I used to be an athlete. I ran races in school. I trained every day. I felt strong. I felt proud. But after school, my life changed. I stopped running. I stopped training. I felt tired all the time. I did not know what was wrong. I just felt low. Now, I work in a sports shop. I sell shoes and shirts. I help people find what they need. I stand for many hours. I smile at customers, but inside I feel weak. My back hurts. My legs hurt. My heart feels heavy. I miss the old me, the girl who ran fast, the girl who had dreams. One day, I came home from work. I put down my bag. I sat on the floor. I looked at my running shoes. I did not touch them for months. They were dusty. They looked old. I felt sad. I felt like crying. I asked myself, where did my energy go? The next morning, I woke up early. It was Saturday. I did not work that day. I made tea and looked out the window. The sky was blue. The sun was out. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to move my body. I saw the park from my window. I thought, maybe I can go. I put on my old shoes. I wore a simple jacket. I walked slowly to the park. I did not run. I did not plan anything. I just wanted to be outside. The air was fresh. The trees were green. I saw a few people. Some walked. Some stretched. Some sat and talked. I stopped near a tree. I stretched my arms. Then I stretched my legs. My body felt stiff, but it also felt good. I took a deep breath. I stayed in the park for 10 minutes. Then I went home. I felt a little better. My body was not so heavy. My head was not so full. The next day I went again. This time I stayed longer. I walked around the path. I did a few small exercises. I touched my toes. I moved my arms. I sat on a bench and watched people. One woman smiled at me. She was doing slow leg lifts. I smiled back. Each day, I did a little more. I started doing jumping jacks. I did light push-ups on a low bench. I walked in circles. I watched the sky. I listened to the birds. I saw the same people again. One man waved. One older woman said, "Good to see you again." Her voice was kind. I felt welcome. One morning, I saw a group doing slow moves. They were doing Tai Chi. I watched from far. They looked calm. Their hands moved like water. A man saw me and said, "You can join." I said, "I'm not good." He said, "Just move. You don't need to be perfect." So I joined. I liked it. It felt soft, but strong. After 2 weeks, I felt a change. My back hurt less. My legs felt better. I started to sleep more. I stopped eating junk food. I cooked rice and eggs at home. I drank water. I stopped drinking soda. I did not feel full of pain. I started to feel light again. My coworker at the shop said, "You look different." I smiled. She asked, "Are you working out?" I said, "I go to the park." She said, "That's great." I felt proud. I did not go to a gym. I did not have a coach. I just went outside. I moved my body. I started small. That was enough. One Sunday, I met a woman in the park. She looked about 60. She was sitting on a bench. I stretched near her. She said, "Your body is strong." I said, "I'm trying to come back." She smiled. "Every day is a step," she said. I liked her words. We talked for a few minutes. Then I walked again. Even when I had a bad day, I still went. One day, I made a mistake at work. A customer shouted at me. I felt sad. I almost cried. But after work, I went to the park. I did 10 slow squats. I breathed deeply. I walked around the path. I looked at the sky. I felt better. The bad feeling left my body. One rainy day, I still went. I wore my hood. The ground was wet. I did arm circles under a tree. I watched the rain fall. A little girl in a red coat jumped in a puddle. She laughed. Her mom smiled. I smiled too. I felt happy in that moment. Now I go to the park almost every day. I do not go fast. I do not try to win anything. I just move. Sometimes I walk. Sometimes I stretch. Sometimes I do 10 push-ups. Sometimes I sit and breathe. But I go. That is what matters. I met another girl at the park. Her name is Grace. She comes every Saturday. She does small exercises too. One day she asked, "Can we stretch together?" I said yes. Now we meet each week. We stretch. We talk. We laugh. I like her company. She makes me feel strong. This new habit changed my life. I do not feel lazy anymore. I do not feel slow. I still work at the shop. I still stand all day, but I feel better. I smile more. I eat better. I sleep better. My body is not perfect, but it is mine, and I am proud of it. Sometimes I think about my past. I remember the medals. I remember the races. That part of me is still there. But now, I do not need a medal. I do not need a race. I move because I want to. I move because it helps me feel alive. I tell my friends, just start small. 10 minutes is enough. You do not need to run. You do not need a gym. Just go outside. Just move your arms. Move your legs. Breathe. Feel the sun. Feel the air. Let your body wake up again. One morning, I saw a man with a cane. He was walking very slowly. I smiled at him. He smiled back. He said, "You're lucky. You move with ease." I said, "I try my best." He nodded. He said, "Keep going. It helps the heart." I thanked him. His words stayed with me. Now even if I feel sad, I go. Even if I feel tired, I go. I do not wait for the weekend. I do not wait for a friend. I do not wait for the sun. I just go. I always feel better after. Every time. Even on the hard days. One evening, I came home from work. My feet were sore. My head felt full. The day was long. I had to help many people. Some were kind. Some were not. I wanted to rest. I wanted to lie down. But I told myself, go to the park. I put on my shoes. I took a water bottle. I walked outside. The sun was low. The sky was orange. The air felt cool. The park was quiet. I saw a few people. One man was doing push-ups. A woman stretched under a tree. 2 kids played near the grass. I smiled and kept walking. I found a quiet spot. I sat on the bench. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. After a few minutes, I stood up. I did some shoulder rolls. I lifted my arms. I touched my toes. My back made a small sound, but it felt good. I did 10 slow squats. My legs felt heavy at first, but after a while, they felt strong. I looked around. I felt calm. The park helped me again. On Saturday, I met Grace at the park. She smiled and waved. "Hi, Anna," she said. "Ready to move?" I smiled. "Yes, let's go," I said. We found a flat space near the trees. We did some jumping jacks. Then we did arm swings. Grace showed me a new move. It was a slow twist. We both laughed when we got it wrong. We talked while we moved. We talked about work. We talked about food. We talked about life. Grace works in a bakery. She starts work at 5 in the morning. She said, "I feel tired all the time." I said, "I felt like that too." She said, "This helps me now." I smiled. "Me too." After our session, we sat on the bench. We drank water. We looked at the trees. A dog ran past us. A man called out, "Bella, come back!" The dog stopped and wagged her tail. We both laughed again. Then Grace said, "Before, I always stayed home. I did nothing. I felt bad. Now I come here. I move. I feel alive." I looked at her and said, "I understand. I was the same. We sat in silence for a while. It was a nice silence. A soft wind blew past us. The trees made a sound. The leaves danced in the air. It felt peaceful. It felt good to just sit and breathe. The next day, I came to the park alone. Grace had to work. I walked to my usual place. I did some slow jogs in a circle. Then I did some leg stretches. I closed my eyes and listened. I heard birds. I heard a child laugh. I heard the wind in the trees. I felt full of peace. Then I saw someone new. A young man stood near the fence. He did some light kicks. Then he did slow breathing. I watched him for a moment. His moves were strong and soft at the same time. He looked focused. I liked that. I started to stretch near him. We did not talk, but it felt nice to be near someone calm. After a few days, I saw him again. He nodded. I smiled. That day I asked, "Do you come here often?" He said, "Every day. It helps me stay calm." I said, "Me too." We did not say more. We just did our exercises. Sometimes small words are enough. Sometimes quiet is nice. Later that week, something happened at work. A boy came in with his father. The boy knocked over a shelf. Boxes fell to the floor. The father shouted at me. He said, "Why is this not safe?" I stayed calm. I cleaned the mess. I said, "It's okay." But inside, I felt shaken. I wanted to cry. When my shift ended, I walked out fast. I did not go home. I went straight to the park. I did not talk to anyone. I just started moving. I stretched my arms. I bent my legs. I moved my body slowly. I breathed in and out. I stayed for almost 1 hour. By the time I left, I felt better. The pain in my chest was gone. The fear in my heart was soft now. I said to myself, "You are strong. You are okay." And I knew it was true. The park helped me again. My body helped me again. Some days it is hard to go. One morning, it rained a little. The sky was gray. I felt sleepy. I sat on my bed and looked at my shoes. I asked myself, do I really want to go? Then I thought about how I feel after. I always feel better. So I put on my coat and went. The park was almost empty. One man walked his dog. A girl ran with a bright red umbrella. I did some slow steps. My shoes got wet. But I did not care. I moved my arms. I looked at the sky. The rain was soft. It felt clean. I smiled. That night I told my mom about the rain walk. She said, "You go even when it's wet?" I said, "Yes. I feel better every time." She laughed and said, "Maybe I should try too." I smiled. "Let's go when I visit you," I said. She said, "Deal." The next weekend, I saw the man with slow moves again. I asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "It is a mix of moves. Stretch, breathe, slow kicks." I said, "Can I learn?" He said, "Of course." We started doing the moves together. He counted 1, 2, 3. I followed him. It felt good. It was hard at first, but I liked it. After 20 minutes, we stopped. He said, "You did great." I said, "Thank you." Then we smiled and went our own way. We did not need many words. Moving together was enough. One morning, I met a new woman. She wore a yellow scarf. She looked about 40. She was doing small leg lifts. I said hello. She said, "You come here a lot." I said, "Yes. It helps me feel strong." She said, "I like that." She smiled. Then she joined me. We did 10 squats together. After that, we waved goodbye. That is what I love about the park. You do not need a plan. You do not need a gym. You do not need money. You just need time. You need space. You need to move. That is all. And it helps so much. At work, I started to stand taller. I smiled more. I felt light. I had more energy. My manager noticed. She said, "You seem happy these days." I said, "Yes." I started a small habit. She asked, "What is it?" I said, "I move every day. In the park." She smiled and said, "That sounds nice." That day, I helped many people. A girl asked about running shoes. I said, "What do you want to do?" She said, "Just light walking or exercise." I smiled. "That's great," I said. I helped her find the right shoes. She said thank you. I felt proud. I was helping others again. That evening, I walked to the park with Grace. She said, "Work was so hard today." I said, "Let's move. It helps." We did 10 slow push-ups. We did some easy kicks. Then we sat on the grass. We looked at the sky. The clouds were pink and soft. It was a good end to a hard day. Some days, the park is quiet. Some days, it is full of life. One Sunday morning, the park was busy. Children played near the swings. A man played soft music from a speaker. A group of women did yoga near the grass. I liked days like this. They made me feel part of something. I saw Grace near the trees. She waved. I waved back. We stretched together. I touched my toes. She rolled her shoulders. We talked about our week. I told her, "I helped a woman at work. She was kind." Grace smiled and said, "Kind people make the day better." I agreed. After we stretched, we sat on the bench. We drank water. A man walked past with 2 dogs. One dog barked at a squirrel. We both laughed. Grace said, this is the best part of my week. I smiled. Me too, I said. We sat in silence for a few minutes. It was peaceful. We watched the trees. We watched the sky. Later, I walked to the far side of the park. It was quieter there. I liked that area. It had more trees and shade. I found a spot near a small wooden bench. I did 10 light squats. Then I did some slow steps. I moved my arms in circles. I felt the sun on my face. I closed my eyes. I breathed slowly. After 10 minutes, I opened my eyes. I saw an older man sitting on the bench. He wore a green hat. He looked at me and said, "You move very well." I smiled. "Thank you," I said. He said, "I used to move like that. Now I just watch." I said, "Watching is good too." He smiled and nodded. We talked for a while. His name was Leo. He said he came to the park every morning. "I like to sit and breathe," he said. "I used to walk a lot, but now my legs are not so strong." I said, "It is nice that you still come." He smiled. "I come for the air, the sky, and the peace," he said. I liked that. I saw Leo a few more times that week. We did not always talk. Sometimes I just waved. Sometimes he waved first. But I liked seeing him. He became part of my park days, like the trees, the birds, and the sky. One afternoon, I saw a boy fall from his scooter. He was not hurt, but he looked scared. He sat on the ground and held his knee. I walked to him and said, "Are you okay?" He looked at me and nodded. "It just hurts a little," he said. I helped him stand. His mom came running. She said, "Thank you so much." I smiled and said, "It's okay." That evening, I told my mom about it. She said, "You're always helping people now." I said, "The park helps me, so I want to help others too." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I'm proud of you, Anna." That made me smile. Her words meant a lot to me. The next morning, I woke up early. I made tea and sat by the window. I looked at the sky. It was still dark. I finished my tea and got ready. I put on my shoes and went outside. The air was cool. The street was quiet. Only one car passed. I liked that early feeling. It felt safe and soft. I walked to the park. The lights were still on. I saw a woman walking her dog. We smiled at each other. I did a few warm-ups. I lifted my arms. I stretched my legs. I jogged in place. Then I sat on a bench and looked at the trees. A bird flew past me. It was small and fast. I watched it fly into the sky. After 20 minutes, I went home. I took a warm shower. I made breakfast. I ate eggs and toast. I felt fresh. I felt ready for the day. That walk helped me again, just like it always does. At work, I helped many people. A woman asked about yoga mats. I helped her find one. She smiled and said, "Thank you for your time." I said, "You're welcome." She looked at my name tag and said, "You look very calm, Anna." I said, "I exercise in the park every day. It helps me feel good." She said, "Maybe I should try that too." Some days at work are still hard. Some customers are rude. Some shout. Some say nothing. But I stay calm. I smile. I do my job. And after work, I go to the park. I stretch. I move. I breathe. And I feel better. Every single time. One day, I forgot my water bottle. I felt a little upset. Then I saw Grace. She said, "I have extra." She gave me a small bottle. I said, "Thank you." She said, "You always share your time. I can share my water." That made me feel warm inside. Now, even when I feel lazy, I go. Even if it rains, I go. Even if it is cold, I go. I wear a jacket. I move slowly. But I still go. The park is part of my life now. It is part of my day. It is part of my healing. Sometimes I walk. Sometimes I stretch. Sometimes I just sit and breathe. But I always leave feeling better. The park gives me peace. The movement gives me strength. My body feels good again. My mind feels quiet. My heart feels open. People often ask me, "What do you do for health?" I say, "I move in the park." Some people laugh. Some smile. Some say, "That's too simple." But I know the truth. Simple things help the most. A quiet walk. A slow stretch. A kind smile. These small things make a big change. One day, I saw Leo again. He said, "You come every day now." I said, "Yes. It helps me stay strong." He looked at me and said, "You give people hope." I did not know what to say. I just smiled. His words stayed in my heart. Sometimes I walk alone. Sometimes with Grace. Sometimes I talk. Sometimes I stay silent. Each day is a little different. But each day helps. Each day gives me something. I remember when I was sad. I remember when I felt heavy. I remember when I wanted to stay in bed. Now I get up. I put on my shoes. I go outside. I breathe. I move. I feel free. I do not need to run. I do not need a gym. I do not need loud music or big plans. I just need space. I need fresh air. I need to move. And that is enough. Now I tell others, start small. 10 minutes is good. You do not have to be fast. You do not have to be strong. Just go. Just move. Let your body wake up. Let your heart feel calm. Every step is a gift. Every stretch is a new start. Every breath is a soft reminder. You are here. You are strong. You are alive. And that is why I exercise in the park every day. Thank you for listening. I always knew something was wrong, but I stayed quiet. I did not know how to ask for help. I was scared. I was very, very scared. My name is Sophia. I am 15 years old. I live in a small house with my mother and her husband. His name is Brian. I do not call him Dad. He is not my father. He is my stepfather. My real father died when I was 8. He had a kind voice. He used to tell me bedtime stories. He read to me about the stars. He called me his little star. I felt safe with him. But one day, he got sick. He went to the hospital. He never came home again. After he died, everything changed. My mother cried all the time. She stopped smiling. Then she met Brian. She said he was a good man. She said we needed someone to take care of us. She said we would be happy again. But I never felt happy with him. At first, Brian was quiet. He brought flowers for my mom. He smiled a lot. But I did not like his smile. It did not feel real. It felt cold. After they got married, Brian started to change. He shouted at my mother. He shouted at me. He broke things in the kitchen. He got angry for small reasons. One time, he threw a glass on the floor. It broke into many pieces. I was standing near the sink. I wanted to run. My mother told me, "He is just tired. He works very hard. Don't make him upset." But I was not the one who made him angry. He was always angry. Sometimes Brian looked at me in a strange way. I did not like it. His eyes made me feel cold. I felt scared when I was alone with him. I started closing my bedroom door. I started locking it. One evening, I was reading a book. I was sitting on my bed. It was late. I heard the door open. It was Brian. He did not knock. He walked into my room. He closed the door behind him. I stood up fast. I said, "What do you want?" My voice was shaking. He did not answer. He walked closer. I moved back. I felt my hands shake. I could not breathe. I ran. I pushed past him. I ran to my mom. She was in the living room. She was watching TV. I stood in front of her. I said, "Mom, please. I am scared." Brian came into my room. He looked at me. "I don't feel safe." She looked at me. Her face was hard. She didn't look worried. She didn't look kind. She said, "Sophia, stop this. Brian is your stepfather. Show some respect. Don't say things like that." I felt like someone hit me in the chest. My own mother did not believe me. She believed him. I wanted to scream. I wanted her to see the truth, but she turned away. That night, I cried into my pillow. I didn't sleep. I hugged my old teddy bear. It was from my father. It still smelled like him. I felt alone. I felt small. I felt like I didn't belong in my own house. The next day at school, I was quiet. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't eat lunch. My hands were cold. I felt sick. I sat at my desk and stared at the wall. After class, my teacher, Miss Grace, asked me to stay. She said, "Sophia, are you okay?" I looked at her, but I said nothing. I was too afraid. I was too tired. She sat down next to me. She spoke in a soft voice. "If something is wrong, you can tell me. I am here to help." I wanted to speak. I wanted to cry. But the words stayed inside. I just nodded. That evening, I locked my door again. I pushed a chair under the handle. I could not sleep. I watched the door for hours. I waited to hear his steps. I waited to hear the knob move. My hands were shaking all night. 2 days later, something happened. I was sitting in math class. The school counselor came in. She asked me to come with her. I followed her down the hallway. I thought I was in trouble. But there was a woman waiting in the office. She was wearing a blue sweater. She had short hair and kind eyes. She said, "Hi, Sophia. My name is Julia. I work with young girls. I want to talk with you." I sat down. My hands were shaking. My stomach hurt. Julia said, "Miss Grace called us. She said she is worried about you. I want to ask you one question." I looked up at her. She said, "Do you feel safe at home?" My eyes filled with tears. My lips moved. I didn't think. I didn't stop myself. I just said, "No." Julia nodded. She did not look shocked. She did not ask me why. She said, "Thank you for telling me. You are very brave." After that, things moved fast. I was taken to a different room. I sat with another lady. She gave me a warm drink. She asked me some questions. I tried to answer, but I was tired. I just wanted to sleep. Later that day, they said I could not go home. They said it was not safe for me. They said they would find me a better place to stay. That night, I went to a new house. It was not very big, but it was clean. The lights were soft. A woman opened the door. She smiled at me. "Welcome," she said. "My name is Ellen. You will stay here for now." She showed me my room. It had 2 beds. One bed had a big teddy bear on it. The other bed was empty. That one was mine. A girl was sitting at the desk. She looked at me. She said, "Hi, I'm Tara." "Hi," I said. We did not speak much after that. I sat on the bed. I looked at my small bag. It had only one photo. My father was holding me in it. I kept it close to me. That night I could not sleep again. I turned on my side. I tried to stay quiet, but I cried a little. I thought no one heard me, but then Tara stood up. She came to me. She gave me a blanket. She said, "It gets cold here." I took the blanket. "Thank you," I said. She didn't answer. She just went back to bed. It was a small thing, but it felt big. I had not felt kindness in a long time. In that moment, I did not feel so alone. The next morning, I woke up early. It was quiet in the house. I looked at the small window. The sky was gray. I sat on the bed for a long time. I didn't want to move. Tara was already up. She was brushing her hair. She looked at me and said, "Do you want to eat breakfast?" I shook my head. "Not hungry." She didn't say anything more. She just walked out of the room. After a few minutes, I got up. I washed my face. I looked in the mirror. My eyes were red. My face looked tired. I looked older than before. In the kitchen, Ellen was making toast. The smell was warm. She smiled at me. "Good morning, Sophia," I said. "Good morning," in a small voice. She gave me a plate with toast and fruit. "Try to eat a little," she said. I sat at the table and took a bite. The bread was soft. I chewed slowly. Tara sat across from me. She didn't look at me much. She ate fast. Then she picked up her school bag. "Let's go," she said. We walked to school together. It was a short walk. We didn't talk much. The air was cool. The sky was still gray. When we arrived, I saw some girls from my old class. They looked at me but didn't say anything. I looked away. I felt my hands shake. My chest felt heavy. Miss Grace came to me. "Sophia," she said softly. "It's good to see you." She gave me a small smile. I wanted to hug her, but I just nodded. "Thank you," I said. I went to class and sat in the back. I didn't speak all day. I tried to listen, but my mind was full. I kept thinking about my mom, about Brian, about my old room. I wondered what they were doing now. Did they miss me? Did they even care? At lunch, Tara sat with me. She gave me a juice box. "You didn't bring lunch," she said. I looked at her. "Thank you." She didn't smile, but her voice was soft. After school, we walked home together again. I asked her, "How long have you been in the house?" She said, 1 year. I looked at her with surprise. "That long?" She nodded. Yeah, I was in 2 other places before this one, but this house is okay. I wanted to ask more, but I stopped. I didn't want to hurt her. She looked like she was thinking about something sad. That evening, I wrote in my notebook. I wrote to my father. I wrote, "Dear Dad, I miss you. I feel lost. I don't know if I will ever feel safe again. But there is a girl here named Tara. She is quiet but kind. She gave me a blanket last night. It helped." I closed the notebook and put it under my pillow. I felt a little better. A few days passed. I got used to the new room. I got used to the quiet. Ellen was kind. She asked how I felt every morning. She never shouted. She made soup when we were tired. She made hot tea when we were cold. I started to trust her. Tara and I began to talk more. We didn't talk about the past. We talked about little things, about books, about music, about food. She liked spicy food. I didn't. One afternoon, we were sitting in the small garden behind the house. The sky was blue. The sun was warm on my face. Tara picked a yellow flower. She gave it to me. I smiled. "Thanks," I said. She looked at the sky. "I like it here when the sun is out," she said. "It feels like the world is soft." I looked at her. "Do you miss your family?" She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "No. My house was not a good place." I didn't ask more. I just held the flower in my hand. Later that night, we sat on our beds. Tara looked at me and said, "Do you still think about your mom?" I nodded. "Yes. Every day." She said, "Do you hate her?" I didn't know what to say. I was quiet for a while. Then I said, "I don't know. I think I just feel sad." Tara looked at the wall. "I think I hated my mom, but now I just feel tired." We both sat in silence. It wasn't heavy silence. It felt soft, like we understood each other. That week, I started talking to Miss Grace again. She came to visit the house on Wednesday. We sat in the living room. She brought me a small red notebook. "Write what you feel," she said. "It helps." I opened the notebook and wrote, "Today, I felt the sun. I smiled. I talked to Tara. Maybe this is the first good day in a long time." One morning, I saw a letter in the hallway. It had my name on it. It was from my mother. My hands were cold. I sat on the bed and opened the letter. It said, "Sophia, I don't know if you want to read this. I am sorry. I was scared. I didn't listen to you. I didn't protect you. I miss you. I love you. I don't know how to fix it, but I want to try. Love, Mom." I read the letter again, then again. My heart was beating fast. I didn't cry. but I felt something move inside me, like a small door opening. Tara looked at me. "What's that?" she asked. "A letter from my mom," I said. She raised her eyebrows. "Wow. What did she say?" I gave her the letter. She read it slowly. Then she gave it back. "Do you believe her?" she asked. I shook my head. "I don't know yet." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the letter, about my mom's words. I wanted to believe her, but I was still hurt. I felt like a bird with a broken wing. I needed time to heal. On Saturday, Ellen took us to the library. It was a big building. I walked between the bookshelves. I saw a book I used to read with my father. It was about stars and space. I sat down and opened it. I remembered his voice. I remembered his warm hand on my head. I whispered, "I miss you, Dad." Tara sat next to me. She was reading a book too. She said, "I like this place. It's quiet." I nodded. "Yeah, me too." That evening, I wrote another letter in my red notebook. But this time, I wrote it to myself. "Dear Sophia, you are not weak. You are not the problem. You told the truth. You were brave. And you are still standing. That means something." I closed the notebook and smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. 1 month had passed. I was still living in the group house with Ellen, Tara, and the other girls. Life was quiet. Not perfect. Not easy. But quiet. I started to feel calm again. I went to school every day. I helped with the dishes. I wrote in my notebook each night. I was learning how to breathe again. I was not the same girl I was before. I still felt pain inside. I still missed my father. I still thought about my mother. But I was not frozen anymore. I was moving, step by step. One afternoon, Ellen called me to the kitchen. She said, "Sophia, someone wants to visit you." I looked at her. "Who?" I asked. Her eyes were gentle. "Your mother," she said. I froze. My heart started to beat fast. I didn't know how to feel. I had waited for this, but now I was afraid. "You don't have to see her," Ellen said. "Only if you want to." I stayed quiet for a minute. Then I said, "Okay. She can come." The visit was set for Sunday. The whole week, I felt strange. I couldn't sleep much. I kept thinking about her. Would she be angry? Would she cry? Would she still live with Brian? Would she say sorry? I didn't know what to expect. On Friday night, I told Tara, "My mom is coming to visit." Tara looked surprised. "Do you want to see her?" she asked. I shook my head. "I don't know." Sunday came. The sky was gray and the air was cold. I sat in the living room waiting. My hands felt cold, even under the blanket. I looked out the window. Then the bell rang. Ellen opened the door. My mother stepped inside. She looked smaller than I remembered. Her hair was tied up. She wore a long brown coat. Her face looked tired. She stood in front of me and said, "Sophia." I looked at her but said nothing. She sat down across from me. We were both quiet for a while. Then she said, "I left Brian." I looked up. She nodded. "I left him 2 weeks ago. I should have done it sooner, but I was scared. I didn't want to lose everything. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I wasn't. I lost you, Sophia. I see that now." I didn't know what to say. My hands were shaking a little. She pulled out a small photo from her bag. It was a picture of me, her, and my father. We were in the park. I was holding an iced tea. Cream. I remembered that day. "I look at this photo every day," she said. "I miss who we were. I want to try again. If you let me." I looked at the picture. I remembered my father's voice, his arms, his stories, the safety I once had. She looked at me again. "Can you forgive me?" she asked. I took a deep breath. "I don't know," I said. "You didn't believe me. You didn't protect me." Her eyes filled with tears. "I know. I made a big mistake. I didn't want to lose him, and I lost you instead. I'm sorry. I really am." My voice was quiet. "I needed you." She nodded. "I know, Sophia. I know. I hope one day you can forgive me." She stood up slowly. "I'll go now, but I'll wait. I'll wait as long as you need." She turned to leave, then stopped. "Can I give you a hug?" I stayed still for a second. Then I got up and stepped forward. She hugged me. Her arms were warm, but they shook a little. She was crying. I didn't cry, but I let her hold me for a few seconds. Then she let go and walked out the door. I sat back down. I felt tired. Not angry, not happy. Just tired. Like something heavy was slowly leaving my body. Tara came into the room. She sat next to me. "How was it?" she asked. I said. She said sorry. Tara looked at me. "Do you believe her?" I thought for a moment. Maybe. I want to. That night, I opened my red notebook and wrote a letter to myself. I wrote, "Dear me, you are brave. You told the truth. You were not believed, but you didn't stop. Now your voice is strong. You are learning to heal. That is enough. Love. Sophia." The next morning, the sky was blue. The sun came through the window. I stood by the glass and watched birds fly in the sky. I smiled a little. I felt light for the first time in many days. At breakfast, Ellen gave me some news. She said, "Sophia, a foster family wants to meet you." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "They are kind people," Ellen said. "They know your story. They asked to meet you. They want to see if you could live with them." I was quiet. "Do I have to go?" "No," she said. "Only if you want to." I thought for a moment. "Okay. I'll meet them." That week, I felt nervous again, but not scared. It was a different kind of feeling. A new kind of hope. On Saturday, Ellen took me to a yellow house. A woman with curly hair opened the door. "Hi, Sophia," she said. "I'm Clara. This is my husband, Dan." Dan waved and smiled. "We're happy to meet you." Their house was simple and warm. It smelled like cinnamon. There were books on the shelf and flowers on the table. We sat together and talked. They asked me about books I liked, music I listened to, and what food I enjoyed. They didn't ask about the past. That made me feel safe. When we left, Ellen asked, "What do you think?" "They were nice," I said. "I liked them." "Would you like to visit again?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "I think I would." That night, I told Tara everything. She gave me a small smile. "You're going to be okay," she said. I looked at her and said, "So are you." She looked down. "Promise me something," she said. "Promise you won't forget me." I smiled. "Never." I looked around our room, my bed, my red notebook, the small flower Tara gave me weeks ago. This place had become a part of me, not my forever home, but a place where I started to heal. I wasn't scared anymore. I had a voice. I had hope. And I was ready for the next chapter.